2, 1. All right, family, it's your brother Assad back with another quick video, and this time we have something special for you guys. We have a YouTube super duper star, super duper celebrity in these YouTube South African streets. This sister has been such inspiration to us. We first discovered her obviously on the Real South Africa's channel, and just tell you, we were here on our own, I think in February or February, and my wife was sitting outside, and Asha walked out, and my wife screams out like she's a celebrity, Asha! and I know you're probably wondering, like, who are these people that are screaming my name? And we just hit it off from that moment on. So for everybody watching, this is Asha, and Asha means life.
Means life. Hey everybody, welcome. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being on. So let's kind of start at the beginning. Why South Africa?
Okay. Why South Africa? Well, initially, for those who have watched my videos in the past, I initially had planned on moving to Ghana around 97, 98. Those were my plans. But then in 2008, I saw a documentary called Blacks Without Borders, Living the American Dream. And so from that point on, I decided, no, I need to go check out South Africa, because it was a documentary of African Americans living here and showing how they were flourishing and thriving and just how they blended in. And it felt so, just so much like home. And so from that point on, I decided it's going to be South Africa.
That was actually one of the documentaries that we saw after we came to South Africa. So
oh, really?
It was like we chose South Africa almost. We wanted to go to Ghana year of the return. I think it's 2019, and it was just way too expensive. And South Africa was just a little cheaper. And but once we came here, yeah, we discovered that's when we discovered the Blantons. That's when we discovered Blacks Without Borders, and just all of this this YouTube community that existed, and this information on South Africa. So when did you first come?
So my first visit was last December. I came last year, 2020. And I came on the 90-day visa through the Real South Africa, because I wanted to get a real experience, not just from vacation. I took advantage of the tourist and vacation attractions as well, but I wanted to see what the day-to-day living would be. And so I decided to stay for the 90-day visa and just enjoy myself living with South Africans, interacting on a day-to-day, going to the grocery store, going to a doctor's appointment. Just wanted to get a feel for what life could be like if I were living here full time, just to make sure that this is in fact where I want to live. Because it's one thing to romanticize, a place and seeing everybody else living and having their experiences and visiting, but how am I going to feel about living here? So that's what I wanted to experience. And I absolutely loved it. South African people are so amazing and so welcoming. And, the infrastructure, everything is here. So you're not missing anything from the US, from the West. You're not missing anything. You have to adjust to a few things here and there, but for the most part, everything's here. And so I'm going through just my little transition phase of settling in and getting around and whatnot, but I love it. I absolutely love it. So it's been a year. I came back 1 year.
But I have to tell you, Asha, my wife and I, and Adrian, if people are wondering where she is getting ready, because we're like bam, bam, bam appointments with people. But we really admire you and your strength and your courage. I asked Adrian, do you think you could move across the world by yourself? And I don't think either one of us could do it. I know I couldn't. I tell her all the time, if I didn't have you to move with, I'm not doing it. I'd be stuck in New Orleans. But so we just admire you know, like I said, your courage and your strength, and that
Thank
is
you.
wonderful. Kudos to you for that. So
Thank
after
you.
your
Thank
90
you.
days, you had to go back to the States.
Oh, when I went back to the States, I was upset. I was, oh, I was mad. Now, I love Georgia because when I retired from Los Angeles, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. So I love the greenery, I love it. But when I landed, I had an attitude. I did not want to be there. I was complaining and it was just, and then I had to stop and catch myself. I was like, you know what? No, it's a beautiful place. What are you complaining about? But just the mood that came over me was
Mhm.
like, why am I here? Now, aside from my daughter, my family, of course, I love them dearly, but I didn't want to be there. I did not want to be there. And I knew that I was counting down. My plan was to come back within the year. And so I was just counting down and just staying focused and saying, just knowing that I'm coming back home, coming back home. So,
Yeah,
so I had an attitude. When
yeah.
I went back.
It's a really a drab feeling to leave and have to return back to the
Mhm.
U.S. And I think some people might think we're exaggerating or whatever have you, but you really do feel
No.
down when you,
And
you
you don't
know,
even realize, you don't even realize that the impact that South Africa being here has on you until it's time to go back to the
yeah,
US or go back wherever you're from. You don't realize that the emotions that you're hit with, it's so overwhelming.
hmm,
I describe it as, when you're sending your child off or a loved one off for a year or so, and it's like saying goodbye to someone you love,
yeah,
even though you know you're going to see them again in a year or so, but still having to say goodbye to them, it's just such an emotional thing to let go and just
yeah,
move on. So that's
yeah.
what I felt when it was time to go.
So you're in the U.S. for a little while, and then November rolls around, and you are officially a South African citizen or resident, right? A permanent resident.
I actually, when I returned to the US last February,
Mhm.
I applied for my retirement visa. And so that took about a good 6 weeks. And once I got that stamp of approval, my retirement visa was approved. I'm like, hey, let's do it. But
Mm.
I still had planned to move to South Africa this past November, which is what I did. So I had all that time from February to November to just make sure my ducks were in a row, my
Yeah,
T's are crossed, my I's are dotted, and I was getting everything settled in the US and preparing my family and friends so that they wouldn't, have as much of a difficult time,
yeah,
saying
yeah,
goodbye or saying see you later, not goodbye. So
yeah,
I just used that time to just plan and prepare for this move.
definitely. So November comes and you get on that plane. What are you feeling when you're like, okay, I'm not just visiting for 90 days. I am about to be in South Africa for at least a year, an extended period of time.
I'm home. So wow.
Oh, yeah.
I was so busy planning and selling stuff that I didn't really have time to think about um, what I was actually doing as far as the gravity of what was actually happening as far as me replanning myself on another continent, another country. So I was just I was excited, but at the same time I was just about business, 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 getting things done. And I don't know, it just seemed so natural. It seemed so normal. Everything just kind of flowed. And
Mhm.
so it was an easy process for me. I didn't have much to give away, sell, unpack. Like I didn't have much because I made sure I kept it light so that when it was time to make this transition, that there wasn't much to settle.
Mhm.
So so yeah, well, it was pretty easy.
Okay. And now you've moved into your apartment and you are Miss Independent. IED or ID. I don't know if you know that, so I'm about to spell it wrong.
I
But yeah,
remember
Miss
that song.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
song.
yeah. So now you're there, and how does that feel? Like that's really permanent. That's that knowing. Like, wait a minute, I just signed a
I live
lease.
here.
Yeah, I live
I
here.
live here. So
Yeah.
when I first, so before I actually did make the transition, I was in communication with different people on Facebook groups, and one person in particular who happened to who was my host for November and December. She actually lived in Atlanta. She and her father lived in the Atlanta area, and
Oh,
she now has moved back to South Africa. So I was in contact and communication with her, and they so graciously welcomed me into their home here in South Africa and insisted that I stay with them for this period of time while I make my transition. And they were so helpful with helping me getting settled in terms of getting me my bank account. I'm sorry, my bank account and proof of residency and all that kind of stuff, just to make sure I wouldn't have a problem opening up these services here.
okay.
So they really helped with the soft landing and helping me with that transition. And so I'm really thankful to my host, like really. So so yeah, so that helped a lot. But once I got into, so my plan again was to rent for 1 year while I take a look around to see the different areas and see where I actually want to buy. So that's where I am now. I'm in a beautiful complex here in Midrand area, Waterfall, and I love the amenities here. So I feel like I'm in like a mini resort. So it's just super nice.
If you don't mind me
Nice.
telling the people, like your apartment complex has a salon, laundry, not a laundry mat, but like a cleaners that will take your clothes and clean them.
Laundry service, yes,
Laundry.
laundry service. So not only, yeah, they have a restaurant, a bar, a conference room, movie theater. Let's see, the spa where you can get your hair and nails done.
Yeah. Workout facilities.
Gym.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, everything's here. And what I love, like, I find that a lot of the places here, a lot of the newer places will have these lifestyle centers on the property so that the residents, you know, just has a really comfortable experience, lifestyle, and easy to get to and from if you work from home. You know, there's a conference room that you can reserve for your business meetings and things like that.
Wow.
So I just love it. I absolutely love it. Love it.
And here's one thing that and you rode with us when we went to go see our apartment in wherever that was, Paulsworth or whatever. I noticed that both in your apartment complex and in my apartment complex, all I saw were Black Native Africans walking around. Because usually when we think of really nice complexes like this in the United States, it won't be typically for us. It may be one of two of us living there, but in these complexes, it's different. Did you want to speak on that? Speak on that?
Exactly. You know, and that's the beautiful thing. Like you're right, because we're such a minority in the U.S. Again, when you are in these areas, you don't tend to see a lot of people that look like us. And so it makes us feel, even though we're welcome, but it makes us feel a little bit, you know, uncomfortable. But it's just so nice to be in an environment where, you know, we're in the majority and you see people pulling up in these nice fancy cars and, you know, they're business people, they're just people of different levels, and everyone for the most part is looking like you. So it's like, it's just nice. It's just such a nice thing to see. And
yeah,
it's just nice. It's really nice.
I tell you, we
Which
went
adds
out
to the
to,
appeal of being here.
yeah, we went out to a restaurant last night, a very nice restaurant, Black owned place. And we were sitting with some friends from the US and we were just like, man, look around. It's just like all of these young, and I'm gonna tell you what else shocked us and surprised us was that usually in Black owned restaurants in the US, you don't really see too many of our white brothers and sisters as patrons every once in a while. But we were in there in this very nice Black owned restaurant, and there's a table of um, white South Africans, and there was another table of white South Africans. I was like, oh, well, but they really have no choice because they're in a super majority place. So going into restaurants where they are kind of the minority because they are the numeric minority is something, I guess, that it doesn't, it's not new to them. It's where they are. And it's such a reverse of the roles, you know. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's actually quite. I think we can relate as African Americans. We can not only relate to South Africans with their experience through apartheid and our experience as well, but then we also can relate to Caucasian community that's here too, because they're in the minority.
Yeah, that's
They're
true.
also a minority in the US. So we can kind of relate to, well, we can definitely relate to both aspects of the groups of people that are here, which is
Man,
interesting. It's like, if you
yeah.
sit back and go, let's really think about some things.
Man, you know what? That's the first time I even thought about that commonality between like white South Africans. Like, oh yeah, they know what it's like to be in the minority, like we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is, yeah, that's something true. Yeah, but
Makes you go,
yeah, yeah, they know what it's like to sit in that room and like last night, and you're the only table or two tables that look like you or whatever have you. And I think there's, obviously there's some differences because there's none of that that the racial history of oppression that goes along with being a minority here, so
right,
or at
right.
least the way it was in the US. So
Yeah.
what tell me about the South African people. And before you start, I want to say this: that is what, beyond the infrastructure, beyond the everything that is so nice and like the West, it was the people that really
Yeah.
made me say, man, South Africa is where it is. So tell me about your experiences with the people here.
Wow. From day one, really, the people have, and it's not something that, it's not fake. Like, they're very genuine when they are approaching you, when they're offering assistance, when they want to show you everything, they want to teach you everything, they want you to learn everything, and they're very genuine about what they're offering and wanting to show you and include you in their culture, their experiences, their traditions. I've gone to parties, I've gone to funeral, I've gone to just gatherings. I had the opportunity to go to a funeral, which was very, very interesting. So, spending time with my host, like I said, they made sure that I experienced, you know, top level to lower level and everything in between of South African lifestyle and South African just experiences. And so I'm very appreciative to my host for that. And just wanting to get me in the kitchen to show me how to make certain South African dishes. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's just the people, I can't say enough about the people. Without the people, there would be no culture, there would be no food, there would be no experiences to have. So the people are what make the experience even more just what it is,
So I've heard in the United States, and maybe you haven't, but I've heard in the United States people say Africans don't like Black Americans. They don't like African Americans. Have you experienced any way remotely that type of sentiment in South Africa?
Absolutely not. And absolutely not. And the thing is, in the US, I think we hear that sentiment in the US because it's still part of that divide and conquer type of mentality.
Right.
Because when you come to the continent, you don't experience that at all. I think if anything, you may experience a little bit of tension, little bit in the US because of where we are, and everyone over there is like survival of the fittest. And so it's, everyone's trying to survive and being pitted against each other. And I think that's maybe where that is coming from. But in reality, though, the Africans that I know and that I've met in the US, we've never had that issue. Like, we are aware of tensions that may go on here and there because of just what we're all experiencing there.
Right.
But
Right.
in terms of whether or not they hate us, don't like us, or whatever, I've never experienced that. I've joined groups in the U.S. that supports Africans and African Americans working together, getting together, understanding each other culturally, and interacting with each other. And so I made it a point to be a part of groups that are positive and uplifting and supportive of African and African American relationships and relationships throughout the diaspora. So I personally haven't experienced that or have come across people, that have that sentiment. I've heard it, but I kind of tune those things out. But definitely being here, and I think on the continent period, you're not specifically South Africa. No, you're not going to feel that. You're not going to experience that. They're actually like wanting us to come. Hey, where are the rest of you? Come.
Exactly.
More of us need to come here. So that's their sentiment, and that's all I felt. Nothing but love.
I have been told, welcome home, welcome back. This is your home. South Africa is your home. Go get some more and tell them to come back. And they mean it, right? If it was just one or two people, I would say, oh, that guy's just blowing smoke up, smoke up my rear. But I mean, it's literally every comment. And let me say this, it's from Black South Africans, white South Africans, colored South Africans, all are saying, welcome, welcome here, welcome home. I've never had any sentiment that I can say I felt unwelcome, that, oh no, stay in your own country, don't come. None of that. So I think what we're trying to do with this channel and the work that so many others are doing is to that stigma that's in the United States. Two main stigmas in the United States. Number one, that Africa in general is the jungle, it's underdeveloped, and it's nothing over there. And South Africa blows that stigma clean out of the water. And two, the other stigma is that Africans don't like African Americans, or that African Americans don't like Africans. And the work that we're trying to do is we're trying to destroy those stigmas and build bridges and close these gaps so that our brothers and sisters can embrace each other from across those
and know
borders.
that we have options. Know that we have options. Exactly.
Right.
And I think that's such a, and I love it. Such a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love it when I meet people like you and your wife and others that are out there who we have that same mission and goal in mind, and that is to just shed light on how beautiful and amazing this country is, the people are, this continent. We happen to be here in South Africa, and just doing our part to show, just different aspects, just different aspects of life here. So thank you.
Asha, thank you for speaking with us, or speaking with me today. As you know, we're on a time frame.
Absolutely.
So I definitely enjoy it. And I wish you the best of luck here. And God willing, we will be back March for a visit, and then June full time. And it feels great to know that I have family here already. So thank you so much. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No
Don't
problem.
forget, Asha means love.
Asha means love. Yes, indeed. All right.